What's up guys, Laura Whitmore here, owner of Strategic Test Prep. I've been a test prep instructor for over 15 years now, and I consistently score in the 1500s. I've helped hundreds of students just like yourself achieve the scores that they want to get into their schools of their dreams. And in this video today, I'm super excited because the March test is quickly approaching. So in this video, I wanted to give you my up-to-date predictions for what I think will be on the March test. And by the way, this pertains to both the digital SAT and the paper SAT. If you're taking the SAT more than one time this year, make sure you subscribe to my channel right now. Every week I come out with videos, helpful tips and strategies for free so that you guys can learn how to take this test, master this test, and get the score you need. So definitely hit that subscribe button right now. It'll be the best thing you do for yourself all day. Now, along with this video, I would also recommend that you check out my other predictions videos. Check out the October predictions video that I did and the December predictions video I did, because I do think those concepts I covered in those two videos are still relevant right now. I'm just trying to give you fresh concepts on top of those other two videos. And of course, you guys, this video is brought to you by Preply, the fun new digital SAT prep app, where you can access hundreds of questions on both the English and the math that are formatted and designed just like those on the digital SAT. Complete a skills assessment to pinpoint your weaknesses and get a customized study plan. Choose the way you prep from practice drills, time quizzes, and competitions. Earn coins for a chance to climb the Preply rankings and get on the leaderboard. And best of all, it's a mobile app so you can prep on the go at a fraction of the cost of an SAT prep book. Now, just as an update right now, you guys, this app is in the approval process for both Google and Apple. So I will have an update at the end of this video. Stick around and I will give you exactly what's going on in the process for this app. Now, some of the functionality may not be available for version 1 of this app because I'm trying to release it as quickly as possible so those of you taking the March test can access the questions right away. Okay, to get into the video, I will say I took the most recent paper-based test and the most recent digital SATs that were released and looked at the concepts for overlap and also looked for trends. I've noticed there have been quite a new set of concepts folded into the 2022-2023 year. So I'm really focusing on those new concepts that you may not see if you practice a test from 2021. So the first concept that I really think you guys are going to be tested on the March test is margin of error. This concept is super new. It was just introduced, I want to say, a handful of months ago. So go ahead and take a look at an example. I'll walk you through how to do one. Hey guys, we have a margin of error problem here, and the question's asking which of the following is a plausible value of the total number of people in the population who support the proposed legislation. Well, if they're focused on the total number of people, we need to focus on the total population number, not the sample size. And we need to look at what it was estimated. So it's estimated that 35% of people support the legislation and the margin of error is 3%. So that means that anywhere from 32% to 38% support the legislation. So we need to calculate 32% off of 50,000, and we need to calculate 38% off of 50,000, and that'll give us our range. So when you do that, and you can use a calculator, you end up getting 16,000 people to 19,000 people will support the legislation. So a plausible value will be an answer choice that's within that range. So the answer to this one is C. All right, so the SAT likes to throw curveballs. They'll take a concept they've been testing and then they'll add a wrinkle to it or something extra. And one thing that I've noticed that's trending lately is for function notation, they're adding in translations, whether they be horizontal translations or vertical translations. So take a look at this example and I'll show you how to tackle functions with translations. If they say G is defined by f of x minus 7 and the minus 7's in parentheses with the x, it's actually a right shift, 7 units. Because it shifts the opposite way that you would expect it to when you're adding or subtracting from x. Now, just a heads up, if they said g of x equals f of x minus 7, and the notation looks like that, then that means it is a vertical shift down 7, okay? Because you're actually not adding or subtracting from the x itself, you're adding or subtracting from y. Anyways, all you need to do on this is take that quadratic, throw it into your y equals button, and then you're just going to add 7 units to your x coordinate when you calculate the maximum. Okay guys, so as you can see, I typed in the function into my y equals button. Now I'm gonna hit graph. You may have to adjust the window. I'm gonna hit second calc, and I want the maximum. So then I'm going to go to the left-hand side of my vertex, and I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to go to the right-hand side of the vertex. I'm going to hit enter again, and then I'll go right in the middle. And as you can see, my maximum x value is at 6.25, but if it's shifting right 7 units, I'm going to add 7 to that. So the answer will be 13.25. Okay, next up is being able to determine how many real solutions a quadratic has. So if you guys aren't familiar with the discriminant, get familiar now. This is a concept that they were testing for a while, it went away, and now it's back again full force. So check out this example of me working through a problem using the discriminant. You see them talk about real solutions and how many there are. In this case, they're saying there's 2 real solutions. And you have a quadratic because your highest exponent is squared, you're going to use b squared minus 4ac. Just as a reminder, 2 solutions means that the discriminant is positive. So I'm going to fill in what I know. I know b is 6, a is 1, c we don't know, but we know we're going to get a positive number. So if I have 36 minus 4c and I get a positive number, the one that makes the most sense is going to be anytime c is less than 9. Because if I put in 8, I'll have a positive number. If I keep going down and put in a negative number, a negative times a negative is positive, so I'll still have a positive result. All right, next up is our big trig concept. They are obsessed with this concept, guys, and it has also been coming back full force, just like the discriminant. Make sure you know and understand the complementary angles rule. Take a look at this example. So if you basically see in a right triangle 2 angles sum to 90, that means that they're complementary. And so the complementary angles rule states that the sine of one of the angles will equal the cosine of the other angle. So if they said the sine of r is radical 15 over 4, well, you're going to pick the multiple choice answer that says radical 15 over 4 because cosine of s will be the same exact thing. All right, this next concept I know you've seen if you took a test recently like the October or the December. You need to know how to convert square units of measurement, which are tricky. So take a look at this problem and I'll show you what to do. All right, so this is a new concept for 2022 and 2023, and it's been showing up on every single test. So I have a great feeling it's going to be on your test, guys. So please do not use the conversion rate they gave you, because if you're dealing with square units, it will not translate. You have to make the conversions into square unit conversions. So I'm going to square both sides of this. And when I square 1.60934, my new conversion is actually 1 mile squared is equal to 2.59 kilometers squared. Okay, I can use that now in order to convert 29.875 square kilometers. I'm just going to do a simple conversion where I multiply with square kilometers on the bottom so that square kilometers will cancel with square kilometers. And I'll put my 1 mile squared on top so it'll convert to miles squared. And when I go ahead and I work that out, I end up getting 11.5 square miles. All right, guys, so for a while there, they were testing just standard deviation or just the median or mean and median and, you know, how an outlier affects the mean and the median. These days, what's trending is they're testing the difference between standard deviation and mean. So being able to decipher with 2 data sets what happens to the mean and the standard deviation in tandem is really important. Take a look at this next example. First things first, start with standard deviation. It's really easy to tell which standard deviation is greater. When I look up at the table, I'm looking for things that are spread out. I'm looking at the frequencies, right? Because if I have like one data point, let's say in 4, where like 20 times it got a value of 4, this would be a concentrated data set, so it would have a low standard deviation. It wouldn't deviate very much. So that's really what I'm looking for. Is the data spread out? If it is, it's a higher deviation. If it's not, it's a low deviation. And in this case, notice that the frequencies are the same amongst both data sets. So they have the same distribution and they're spread out exactly the same. So their standard deviations will be the same. So your standard deviation, they said, is represented by B and D. So I'm looking for answer choices where B and D are equal. I'm going to get rid of A and I'm going to get rid of D. Now I need to determine which mean is greater. Well, now we're got to look at values, guys, because mean is determined by the value amounts. Like when you add in numbers, if the values are bigger, you're going to get a bigger mean. It looks like data set Q clearly has bigger values to it than data set P. So the mean at Q will be greater. And since the mean is C for Q, I'm looking for one where it says C is greater than A, and the answer is B. All right, lastly, you need to be able to determine how many x-intercepts a polynomial has. And sometimes the wording gets a little tricky. You might overthink it. So take a look at this example so you'll know what to do. All right, guys, this one was a question on the October 2022 US test, and I was sitting in on this test, and this really threw me for a loop. Because usually in the past, historically, the SAT will ask how many distinct x-intercepts are there, because like this one has a double root, this one has a triple root, so you would count each one twice. If they don't say distinct though, and they just want to know how many x-intercepts does the graph have, still treat it like they're asking for distinct. That one counts once, that one counts once, and that one counts once, so your answer is 3. All right, guys, last but not least, I put this on either the October, December predictions. I do think they're going to test you on scatter plots again, but just be really careful. When you get a scatter plot, read the question carefully, because I've noticed students misreading the question and either counting the dots above the line when they should be counting the dots below the line, or vice versa. So slow down if you get to a scatter plot. Make sure you're answering what they're asking for. And that's it for today, you guys. I hope these predictions will help you crush it on the March SAT. I can't wait to hear how it went for you. I will be there right along with you. For those of you taking the digital SAT for the very first time, this is so exciting. And please don't worry, I have a whole digital SAT series. So if you haven't seen that yet, make sure you check it out. And I'll see you guys again soon.